Travis Kelce with his play and what he was able to do against this defense, man, is he just sliced them up. He just sliced them up. So I'm giving our guys, tight ends, I'm giving guys an A. Everybody showed up. Everybody showed up yesterday. Like I had to put my eyes on guys and see what they were doing out there. Doing a pretty good job in the blocking. Like you said, Blake Bell, I don't think it was a fumble either. I really did. I was kind of shocked because I'm just like, well, what's going on? What's the call? Was it, hold up? And then, when they called it, but Noah catching one, the Travis, man, man, we were sitting over here talking. I was talking to one of my friends, good friends, Billy Baber, tight end. And we were just saying, like, man, how does a team just single up somebody on Travis at one point? Like he's going to do him in. Like, why would you do that? Like, are you really trying to lose the game? Is that what you're trying to do? And so you see the result of it, right? You see the result of, trying to have a guy, body up Travis. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. And so he comes out there, man, and he just absolutely demolishes the defense, demolishes the defender. And of course, we keep, had to bring in, Taylor Swift herself doing a little bump and all of that with Brittany Mahomes. Everybody having a good time up there in the box. So everybody loves seeing the performance. And my man, he was spot on. To me, the best performance in the league, without a doubt, this past week. So the Titans get an A. That's why I got the Titans at an A.
2 games in a row with over 100 yards receiving for Kelce in the first half.
Yeah. Man, completely amazing. And like I said, if the team decides you want to single him up, to me, it just makes sense for Patrick to go to him, right? I mean, what's at that moment, you got the matchup that you want, okay? And I'll take that every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Yep. So Patrick thought about the same thing, no different. Right? Now, second group I'll go to. Second group. All right, I'm going to go to the wide receivers on this one. Now, we've talked about it. We talked about, this week, who we're going to be looking at. Who's the number one? Who's the guys that are showing up every single week? The past few weeks, we've been watching Rashee Rice come up there and get better every week. And so this week was no different. Matter of fact, it seemed like we was trying to get the ball to him more because of what he has been doing the previous weeks, right? And so, what he did? He went out there and showed it, hey, he's the guy. He's the man. For me right now, Rashee Rice is our number one wide receiver. Bottom line. And I think because of his size, like seeing him out there on the field, seeing his size and what he's able to do, like the quickness and his speed, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's ready. He's ready. And so he showed that. He showed that yesterday. He showed that, man. Same thing with his burst, the touchdown, starting to find winners, starting to figure things out. And so I think that's the reason Pat was so welcoming and covenanted to this guy. He was talking about him getting him here, right? That's the guy that he wanted. And so he got him. He got his weapon. And sure enough, we're all seeing what Patrick was seeing, during the offseason, trying to get him here. Pat seen it back then. We're seeing the fruition of it now. And so he did a tremendous job. MVS, hands off to him. Congratulations, getting 3 catches, 1 for a touchdown. I told you, I said, look, MVS, when we did our bonus bets, I said, MVS is going to be the guy, man. He's going to get a touchdown this week. I said, he's going to have a big one. Sure enough, he shows up. So maybe it has something to do with JD being at the game. Maybe me coming to the game, man. This gave him a little bit of motivation because I was clapping for him the whole time I was sitting over there watching him doing his thing. So congratulations, MVS, man, having a stellar game. That's his capability. Those are things that he can do. And so I'm glad Patrick was able to find it. And I said this. I said, probably offensively, they're going to try to at least emphasize trying to get him the ball, find out where he is. And they did that. They did that. So hats off to MVS doing what he did out there. Same thing with Sky Moore going out there, get a couple of catches. I'm glad, he got some touches on it. So the offensive, the wide receiver room looked pretty good. They really did. They looked really good. So I gave these guys, them a B+. I gave them guys a B+. That's what I gave them.
JD, so you were there, the hot name that we've always talked about on the show, and fans has been wanting him to kind of get something. And finally, yesterday, he had a play that was dialed for him. So that fade the back of the end zone to Justin Ross. I mean, he kind of got bumped. They call it an offensive PI. I don't think it was an offensive PI, but like, what did you make? And also, too, people were mad that he didn't get a reception or anything, but like, I think it has to say something where it's like, he's getting a play that's dialed up for him, and that's got to be progress. And that's, even though it's not a catch or something in the stat book, but we're seeing the offense trying to drop a play for him. And this is an offense that really doesn't drop plays for anybody specifically. And all of a sudden we're throwing up a fade for him in the back of the end zone. Didn't work out, obviously. But I mean, what did you make and what did you see from Justin Ross about that game?
Well, I'll tell you that was my whole point I was making the last show, was that, you got to get him played out there in the regular field, as opposed to like just being on the goal line. Because what ends up happening, a guy gets antsy, right? He gets, he does become a little bit more jittery, a little bit more nervous on doing things. He wants to do everything right because it is his play dialed up. And so sometimes what you do is you're so focused on catching the football, doing all the other things, that all the other stuff doesn't even matter, right? Your feet might be wrong, hands might be wrong. Yeah, you might push off, all those different things, because the play is drawn up for you. And so to get a guy acclimated, you have to put him in the game in the regular field. You got to get him some work out there in the midfield first before you go down to the red zone and throw just a fade ball. Okay, it sounds good. I get that part of it, but get him in the game. You got to get him. You got to get him warmed up for the game. Dante said something the other day, man. It was so profound. He said this in his speech. He said he thanked Al Saunders for getting him involved in the receiving game, because that helped him in the return game as well. He said, because once I get out there and start catching footballs and running routes, he said, man, that just warmed me up and got me ready for, punt return and the kickoff return. Huh. And I was just like, wow, yeah, that's how it works. And so the same thing with Justin Ross. Justin Ross needs to get a little bit more playing time out there in the regular field. So if you want to throw the fade ball, which you should throw to him, right? Get him out there in the regular field as well. So he's just not a gimmick guy. I hate the gimmick guy doing this or bringing a guy in specifically for just this one play, right? There's other things he can do. He can help us out in the regular field, right? Midfield anytime between the 30-yard line, going back and forth, he can help us there. So yeah. Justin Ross is another weapon. Like I said, Mecole Hardman coming back, we just needed a guy that Patrick could really ultimately trust, okay? And everybody's going to build on from that. So he'll have his shots. He'll get his time. Everybody's got to be patient with this as well, right? Got to be patient with it as well. Yeah. So when you had a guy like Mecole Hardman, who was definitely last year could have been our number one and number two easily in receptions, you got to get him back acclimated as well, what he's trying to do, right? So when you do that, somebody loses out as far as possessions and snaps. Yep. It's just how it works. I told you, man, the NFL is about performance. It's a performance business, pure and simple. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if guys are not performing, we give you shots and opportunities, and something doesn't happen, then, hey, man, it's limited. There's only one football goes around. That's it. Yep. So give it a shot.
Hardman matched his, that was funny. So in the total games he played with New York, he had 3 targets, 1 catch for 6 yards. Just yesterday alone, he had 3 targets, 1 catch for 6 yards. So he matched his season total in targets and receptions and yards yesterday.
Yeah. I see. Ed Moore says Rice needs 10+ targets a game to see what he can really do. I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, you say that, but you got Travis Kelce, now you got Mecole Hardman, you got other guys out here. 10+ targets a game is, in this offense, it's going to be tough to do. It's going to be tough to do.
Yeah.
And I would say this: there's no need to just give him 10 targets a game. There's other guys out here who can play too. So,
yeah. I mean, I think yesterday we saw it was kind of a back and forth between Kelce, Rice. I mean, he was literally going between those two guys for the majority of that game yesterday. Obviously, the other guys had some big plays, MVS, but I mean, it was Rice and Kelce, and you see where the trust lies, and it's between those two guys. Hey, and we've been talking all year who's going to step up outside of Kelce, and we've got it now. This is a couple of weeks of consistency with Rice now, so I think here we are.
Oh yeah, that's right. So the next group I go to, let's go to the offensive line. Offensive line. I tell you what, I love seeing the big guys get out there in space and just run. And in the screens, just getting up the field. The one they had to call back, the first touchdown that they should not call back. Thought that was a terrible play, terrible call. It's horrible. The whole block in the back by Thuney. I'm like, what do you want the guy to do? I mean, he's blocking the guy. He's giving his back. So either you don't block him, he turns around and makes a play, or when you're coming up on the guy and you engage, it's one of those things where you're in between. But that was a bad call. He should never called that. Should have never called that. So offensive line just getting out there and blocking. It definitely needed a little bit more in the running game. That I think they should have done. But it's a tough Chargers defensive line. We know that. We know these jokers come off the football. They're going to try hard. So I give my guys a B, actually, offensive line. I give them a B. I think they did a pretty decent job protecting Patrick, stopping, the brutal pass rush. And so, like I said, I love just watching them in space, man, the things that they were able to do, trying to get up to the second level. Very athletic guys, man, in person, just kind of seeing it. But I definitely give the offensive line a B. Give them a B.
Yeah, that's one of the highest paid defenses in the league. So,
well, shoot, yeah. So if you got them and you shutting these guys down from getting all the sacks and whatnot, right? What they known for? Who was that? I think what's the name he had? What he had the week before?
Oh, Khalil Mack.
Yeah, Khalil Mack had 4 or 5 sacks.
4 or 5 sacks against his former team, the Raiders.
Yeah. So there was no way that was going to happen. No way it was going to happen against the Chiefs.
No.
Yeah. So running backs. So Pacheco, 13 carries, 32 yards. Patrick was our second leader rusher with 29 with 4 carries. And he pick and choose his times to run. He did, and was open. Times he took off, he should have taken off. And I think Patrick this past week, definitely one of his better games this year. Just with his patience that he took, taking what the defense was giving him. Some of the touch passes he was given, him able to see the field, I think he just seemed like he was in this uber focus, this whole vibe of just seeing it all like yesterday. So Patrick, man, he was incredible. He was absolutely incredible. But the running backs, I gave the running backs, going back to them, I gave the running backs a B. Okay. Nothing that was, some of the holes just wasn't there. Pacheco was trying to find them. And he just kind of got bottled up a little bit here and there. But screen games, guys getting out there, getting up, in space, did a great job. McKinnon, same thing, which, man, like I said, that first one, it took back. Should have been a touchdown. But other than that, man, I think the guys did a pretty good job. I think they did a good job blocking, helping out, chipping. They're chipping. Okay, we say they don't chip or they shouldn't chip. Chipping a little bit. But, yeah, they did a pretty good job. So I gave these guys a B as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing some of the comments in here about CEH's usage yesterday. I thought overall, obviously, I think it was Pacheco's lowest yards per carry this season, 2.5 yards per carry. It wasn't a good game as far as being able to. But also too, we've talked about rhythm. As far as rhythm, it seemed like the pattern yesterday was very inconsistent and weird. For a second there, I thought Pacheco was hurt because we were seeing a lot of CEH yesterday, and I'm like, where is Pacheco? What's going on here? And it just seemed very inconsistent and kind of unusual based on what we've been doing kind of the last few weeks. We were getting Pacheco early and going pretty early on in the game. Or yesterday, only 12 carries. It just seemed weird. It seemed like the rhythm with running backs was kind of off yesterday. Just the way they were kind of spelling them.
Well, I think sometimes when you see a guy kind of getting bottled up and stuff, then you want to switch it up, because you don't want to keep forcing it, right? And you keep running the same, head. So it's like, okay, let's try somebody else. Let's just see what he can do in this. And that's how it goes. Like you said, the rhythm of the game. Well, Pacheco's not having a good game. Let's see what CH can do. Let's see what Jared McKinnon can do. And so that's how offenses usually look at it, right? Try to get a guy going. If some guy's not having a good day, then this might be CH's week. But I know they say, see, just the guy, CH needs to stop playing. I don't believe that. CH is a good player. I forgot I was talking to somebody yesterday, and him coming out of LSU, thought he was a good player coming out of LSU. He's got some ability to him. He may be another fit somewhere else. Absolutely, he could be.
Yeah.
But hey, I don't know, man. We'll see. This week I give Patrick a B plus. Give him a B plus. All right. Like I said, methodical, masterful, patient game that he took it in and just seeing it and taking the time to actually dissect the defense. And he did a wonderful job. And just watching him sit back there, and you could see offensive line first gave him time to throw, gave him a lot of time. I was like, dang, God, he's got a ton of time to throw. But also, too, you could see the open receivers, and he was hitting them. I'm seeing the whole field. I could see the open receivers are okay. And sure enough, he was finding them. So Pat got a B plus. Definitely could have been an A. Interception, if you want to call it, all those. But you know what, man? He did a great job. He did a great job. So was going to give Patrick an A. And I think he's right there on the A, man. A, you almost right there, Pat. Almost on an A. But I think, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get Pat an A.
Yeah.
Get him A, man.
I agree with that.
He played an A game. I said B plus because I got a high standard for him. I do.
I know.
And I say this because he's the best quarterback in the NFL. The grade I'm going to give him is based off of him being the best. Okay. And I could care less about all these other quarterbacks out here, what they're out here doing. Look, Patrick Mahomes, he is the product. He is the face of the NFL right now, period, point blank, okay, quarterback-wise. And so I'm always looking for him to keep challenging from where he was, what he's done in the past, his history of seeing something that's like consistent, being able to, just absolutely just slice up defenses. That's how I always base his play on. But he played well yesterday. He did. So he does get an A on that. I do. Switch my grade, Marcus, from a B plus to an A. Right?
Yeah, look at you. Look at you. Not that harsh for a grader.
No.
That's the part of JD. It's almost winter break. Yeah, I'm coming to you. I want to raise my C to a B. Come on, teach. What do I have to do? What do I have to do to get to raise it a few percentage points?
I got you. You good. You got the A. All right. Well done. Extra credit. So yeah.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.